Look at you getting all pretty for the ball.
Oh, for God's
Look at
sake.
Cinderella getting ready for the ball.
That's kind of one of those. As soon as I realized camera was up, I'm like, "Oh crap!"
You might be a redneck if you get your hair and makeup done.
We had
if this gets out, they're revoking my hunting license in Georgia. We got video of you getting makeup, boy.
we had on our old office. We had like basically a bar where we didn't really have a green room for guests to wait in or anything like that. And we had guests sometimes who were just very mortified to be sitting at the bar in the middle of a fairly busy office, just getting makeup put on. Like,
up,
come on, man. Gotta look good for the cameras.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
My wife doesn't even drink, but if back 30 years ago, if somebody sent a limo and they had, and it was horrible whiskey. They had like scotch and rye, and she would get in at 10 o'clock in the morning. You want a drink? Did she want to make herself a drink? I'm like, you don't even drink. She goes, I know, but it's free. It's right there.
You gotta do it. Yeah. Well,
yeah. Why don't you have a rye and Coke while you're at it? So
we got Jeff Foxworthy back here on the show. The hair and makeup, it works though, bud. You're looking sharp. You're looking good. Got the flow going. The hair looks great.
4-0. I just did the cut. It was actually, I went from February till almost July without a haircut.
Wow.
And it looked like Hello 1978. I mean, it was awesome. It was down the back.
When was the last time
I'm just happy to still have it.
When was the last time you didn't have the stash?
I cut it off the first week of coronavirus.
Oh, you did?
Oh, really?
Well, I started growing it in the summer between the 11th and 12th grade, and I had never shaved it. I've been with my wife 36 years. She had never seen me without it. So when they started canceling gigs, I'm like, well, hell, I'd never been more than 2 weeks. I wasn't on stage or on TV. And so I'm like, all right. And I didn't even say anything. I just went in the bathroom, snipped it with scissors, shaved it off. And I walked out and she looked at me and she went, oh, wow. Okay, grow it back. I mean, she hated it.
I don't know.
Is that tough for you to hear that the woman you love, the woman you've married, is like not interested in the full face?
We got to cover that thing up.
No. The more of your face you can cover up, the better.
That's the good part of masks. You just hide your ugly face. Let's do it.
The funny thing was, so I posted a picture on Instagram of me without a mustache because I'd never been one. And like 20% of the people were like, oh, wow, you look younger. 80% of the people were like, no. Jeff Foxworthy has a mustache. Grow it back.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's a weird thing to see.
It's
a strange vibe. Like your entire face looks different. I don't know why,
you do
but
look
it
very
does
different.
everything.
It's weird how sensitive like human beings are to change. Where it's like, and you think people get used to it in a week. By the way, it's just that one picture is jarring. It's like when a social media platform changes their setup and how it works, or a station on TV, their channel number changes and shit like that, or their logo. People freak out.
Or when you're confined to your house and you can't leave the house for 6 months. Yeah, it's amazing how used to things we get. So
one of the comments on your picture from Kathleen Magadan, she said, "Oh my God, is this one of the signs in the Bible?" So needless to say, there was a big overreaction. But hey, that's how you know that you are. Well, no, not breaking news. You're super famous. But B, you've got an iconic look to you that if people freak out, we change our hair or we could change our whole head and people would be like, whatever, we don't care. So you got a look to you, sir.
Well, it's like Sam Elliott. I mean, you see him in things without a mustache, but part of you's like, nah, that's not right.
Yeah,
Sam needs that big droopy mustache.
So you got a new show out. You're one of the busiest guys in showbiz, as always. It's kind of a antique roadshow type of vibe. What's it worth? Are you going around like house to house? Are you going to people's? Like, when was this filmed? Was this pre-corona, so you can actually get out there with the people?
Oh, no. Because originally we were talking about doing it last fall. We were going to do a live show where, with a live audience, people brought in their stuff. We'd have the appraisers there, and then they're like, you want to sell it? And we were going to do like a live auction while the show was on where people could bid on it on their phones from all over the country. And then COVID happened, and obviously you can't have a live audience. But what happened was everybody that was stuck at home started doing all the projects they'd never had time to do. They were cleaning out their attics, cleaning out their garage. So we started getting inundated with people going, hey, I found this in a trunk in the attic. And so we started talking about, could you do this virtually? You know, could you let people take their phones and walk you through their house and show you their stuff?
Yeah.
And I was kind of pessimistic. Once we started doing it, see, like as a comic, I've always had a theory, everybody should go to the fair at least once a year, if for no other reason, because it makes you feel better about your own family. Because everybody thinks their family's jacked up, and then you get to the fair and you're looking around and you're like, hell, we're all right.
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah. We're damn near royalty, baby. And so it was kind of that way going into people's houses, and you see Granny in the corner, and she won't even quit watching The Price is Right. You know, she's over there doing her thing, and you see their dog, and they walk you through, and you're like, where is this thing? Everybody hid it in the sock drawer, and I'm like, that's day one of burglar school.
That's the first place you go. Yep.
Yeah. So
give me an example. Like what's one of the best, most expensive, most rare? What are some of the items people are getting?
Okay, we had one person had something in their house. They wanted to know what it was worth. It was worth $500,000.
Holy shit! What was it?
It was a painting.
Wow. Did they have any idea that it was even going to be remotely that?
No.
Like they didn't know it was...
No. Hell, we had people that were about to throw something away that was like by a famous artist that was just worth a ton of money, and they were literally about to put it in a yard sale.
Oh, my God. You know what I would do? See, here's the problem. You guys should have just, stole that. You should have been like, it's worth $500, and then Jeff Foxworthy buys it and sells it for $500 million.
Dadgummit. God, why didn't we do that?
This is like the movie Inside Man. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's with Denzel Washington. And I always thought, I was like, instead of making this movie, you should have just done this robbery because it's fantastic.
Great plot.
It's a great idea. And this is kind of the similar thing here. Like, I would have just bought this idea from you, never made a show, said, yep, that's garbage, throw it out. And what's the address, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Have the expert tell them it's worth $12.
Yeah.
Tell them you'll give them 20 to take it off their hands. So you got a bill of sale. And
are you?
I should have done that.
Are you an art guy? Because part of me, whenever I see these stories, sometimes almost exactly what you're describing, where it doesn't look fancy, it doesn't look famous, doesn't look important. It's just like a blue canvas, and someone finds out it's worth $400 million. I don't get it, and it drives me crazy. But I don't know. Some people in the art world are all about it.
I mean, I draw and paint. I've got like notebooks full of people I've drawn in the airport and put funny captions on them. But I know nothing about art.
Yeah.
I collect, like I have a couple of weird collections. Like I grew up a baseball, and so like when I got to the point that I started doing TV, if I was doing the Tonight Show or if I was hosting an award show, I'd just keep some baseballs in my backpack and I'd get people to sign them. So of course, being a comic, that was like, so I like on a baseball, I have Johnny Carson. I've got one of Richard Pryor, Bob Hope, Red Skelton, George, all on baseballs.
I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've got NBA players. I've got NFL players. I've got rock and rollers, Elton John and Robert Plant. And
are any of the other athletes
all
weirded
on
out? Like when you ask an NFL player to sign a baseball, are they like, well, I don't get it. Why? Or they're just like, whatever.
No, most of them were pretty cool about it. Johnny Unitas was like, I was a football player.
Right,
I'm like, no, I know, but this would be cool because how many Johnny Unitas baseballs are there?
I mean, it's got to be one of the rarest things in memorabilia, yeah.
And so the cool thing is like I just put them around my office, and to see people looking at them like, I didn't know Leonardo DiCaprio played baseball, dude. They're all mixed in with other things, so it's pretty cool.
How has you said you hadn't gone more than like 2 weeks without being on stage. We've been talking to a lot of comics over the past couple months where they're kind of going crazy over it. Are you at a point in your career though where maybe it's a welcome break? I mean, you've been working hard for a long time. Is it nice to get away, or are you going stir crazy?
It was funny. I probably hadn't been 2 weeks without getting on an airplane in almost 40 years.
See, that sounds great to me, to get a break from that.
Yeah. So I live in Atlanta, but I have a farm about an hour south of Atlanta. So we spent the first 9 weeks of this just on the farm. And it was the first time like I'd slept in the same bed, had dinner with my wife and all. So when everybody was complaining about it, I'm like, dude, this is like the best 2 months of my life. I've never, but I do miss being on stage. I'm one of the weird comics that most people get into stand-up because it's like a great springboard for TV and movies. And once they do TV and movies, they don't do stand-up anymore. And I was just one of those weird guys and I've done TV and movies and I enjoyed it. It was something different. But if you put a gun in my head and said, all right, you can't do but one thing, it would always be stand-up. I still love stand-up.
Well, you also reached a level. I mean, when you're doing a tour of the magnitude that you did, where it becomes this, societal, it's a big deal. I feel like that's a lot different than if you got to still go out there and kind of grind it out on the road. I can see why some people leave that behind. But like something like the Blue Collar Tour is like, that's got to be one of the best experiences ever.
Yeah, that was probably the most fun thing I ever did, because the only negative thing I ever found about being a comic was you were on the road by yourself. And so doing that, you were with 3 of your best friends. And, we would just kind of laugh every night after the show going, can you believe they're paying us?
Yeah.
Well, we actually talked to Larry, basically probably towards the start of quarantine. We were talking to Larry. And had a chew in the whole time, which I loved.
Yeah.
Our first guest ever with a chew the whole time. But he was telling us about the early days of Blue Collar, where he said he doesn't drink much anymore because there was like one time where he was found like hanging out of the bus or something like that.
Like half body hanging out of the bus.
You guys are going rock star early life?
Yeah, he's the worst drinker in the world. He is. We were doing a thing when they were wanting to make it a movie, so we're in LA to meet with like these movie execs, and I don't remember what we've been doing, but he came in, dressed like crap for this. And it's at this restaurant. And the big movie exec had bought this really expensive bottle of wine. I mean, like a $2,500 bottle of wine. And Larry literally sat down and went, boom. I mean, slammed it down. There wasn't even a swallow. I mean, just wide open. And he went from being fine to being pie-eyed in like 6 minutes, to the point that Ron's going, knock it off. You're kidding, right? There ain't no way you're drunk that fast. Yeah, he's a horrible drinker.
He described it as, I think he said, like your tour manager or someone was like, cut it out. It's not going to be like this. We're not going to be, trashing the place and fucked up the whole time. And that you guys kind of stuck to that rule.
Yeah, because it became real quick. I mean, because you were in a different city every night. We were doing, 15, 20,000 people. And you're like, dude, you can't do this way.
Yeah.
We're all gonna be dead in a week. So, yeah.
20K
but out of everybody,
in an arena,
he was the worst at it.
20K in an arena when you're hungover? I don't know. That's not what I would look forward to.
I will tell you the funny story about Larry. So, because Larry and Ron both really exploded when that thing came out. And so Larry got a deal with Nutrisystem, and they were paying him like a dump truck of money, but he had to lose 50 pounds. That was the deal. And so Larry's like, I don't have the willpower to do it. And so I'm like, dude, hire a trainer, have somebody go with you. And so he hired this guy to go with us to make sure that he exercised every day and that he ate right. And Larry would come in the dressing room and go, hey, I just heard they got donuts in the green room. He goes, go over there and distract the trainer for 10 minutes. Just go distract him. And I'm like, you're paying him. To get this money, and you're giving away $1 million so you can go eat a chocolate frosted donut. For God's sake.
Yeah, but then Prilosec came coming, and he was like, "All right, never mind."
Well, which is finally he's like, "Hell, I'm gonna be fat. I'm just gonna have heartburn. I'll do Prilosec. That's what I'm gonna do." So.
I respect the hell out of that. I love that
right?
move.
That's great.
Speaking of people coming to Colin. You got a Monopoly game, man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh?
How about that?
How about that? I can't even imagine, like, of your, like, as a child, like, your wildest dreams. Like, you want to become a movie star. You want to become rich. You want to become this. Like, even the child with the highest dreams in the world wouldn't consider saying, I want a Monopoly game named after me. Or a Monopoly themed after me.
I am 2 decisions from drywalling. I mean, I'm like the luckiest guy in the world. No, I never thought, but they approached me and they were like, all right, could you put your spin on it? Because, like, honest to God, where I came from, we had a dirt yard. Our landscaping was monkey grass and a concrete block on the side of the driveway. Mm-hmm. And so, but when I played Monopoly, I didn't know what Park Place was. I mean, I'm like, what the hell is that? And so when they approached me about it, I'm like, all right, so if the redneck version of this, you would start at like a yard sale and work your way around to the Park Place was actually a water park. I mean, that's got to be redneck heaven right there. And so to go back and just redo the properties and to go through the cards and make them,
What are some of the pieces that you can be?
Well, yeah, because we certainly wouldn't be a top hat. So one of them, I think, is a chainsaw. One of them's a baseball cap. One of them, it's the old Monopoly car. Remember the car?
Yeah.
But it's up on blocks. Yeah, it has no tires. It's just up on blocks. So
very clever.
I think one of them's a mailbox made out of auto parts. So I mean, it's still Monopoly. It's just fun.
That's incredible. When I saw that, I was like, wow. I mean, that's
kind of weird. That's kind of weird to see the Monopoly game and your picture on the front of it. I'm like, that's crazy.
Hey, you got the mustache, man. The Monopoly man. It suits you well.
Yeah, right?
So the new show is, I mean, you've been doing hosting for a while, Who's Smarter Than a Fifth Grader and whatnot. Do you find hosting to kind of be like second nature for you? Is it even like hard for you? Or are you just like, I'm going to go out there and talk to people, be personable, and it's like easy money?
You know what? Like I balked at doing fifth grader when Mark Burnett first called to ask me about it. He said, "Would you host a game show?" And I'm like, "No, hell no, that's cheesy. I don't want to do that." And I said, "What's the premise?" And he said, "Adults taking an elementary school test for a shot at $1 million." And I just started laughing. I said, "That's brilliant, because everybody's gonna think they could do it.
Right?
It just sounds easy." And I just found really quickly that I could still be funny. I mean, I could still mess with people, because even if you were getting the questions right, they were second grade questions and people get all puffed up. I'm like, dude, 8-year-olds answer this. Shut up. But I really liked it. I like people. And so I found real early, I didn't need a prompter. I'm like, tell me the rules of the game. Tell me the person's name, where they're from, what they like to do, and let's go. And we would film 8 shows a day. Jeez. We do 170 of them in 5 weeks.
Wow.
Just knock them out.
Is that like a producer's dream, or are the cast and crew like, Jesus Christ, Jeff, we got to do 7 and 8 in a day? I can imagine it's great to get it done, but also that sounds like a bear.
It's probably both, but I was living in Atlanta, but I'd fly out to LA to do the show. So my idea was, I want to get it done. I want to go back home.
Right.
And it's funny, because when I talk to other people that were doing game shows, they're like, "No, dude, we do 3 a day," or we do, the most we've ever done is 5, and we were cranking out 8 a day.
When you're out there in LA for that, are you staying in a hotel, or are you getting like an Airbnb, or you renting a house?
I've done both.
It's a long time in a hotel.
It's a long time. In fact, when I did it in a hotel, after like the first week, because every night I was coming back like ordering room service, I'm like, give me, all I want is one of those little like college dorm refrigerators. And I would get like a jug of milk and a bowl of cereal, and I'm like, I'm totally happy. I got a bowl of cereal. I sit here and watch Sports Center and, go back and do it again tomorrow. So
what's your go-to cereal?
All time?
Yeah.
I mean, or like today?
No. Well,
let's go both.
Yeah.
Okay. All time. It'll probably surprise you. It's Life. My grandparents always had Life cereal, and I can go to Life, but Honey Nut Cheerios Anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, that's a go-to.
What about you?
I go Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And then
see, you're showing your age a little bit on that, because like that wasn't a childhood cereal of mine, but like everybody that's a little bit younger than me always has Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I feel like Cinnamon Toast Crunch is almost like, I think it's like Life but a little better, but that's probably just because it's newer and was my generation. But I feel like they're kind of cut from the same cloth.
Sure.
What do you cereal guy?
Oh, come on, am I a cereal guy? Are you kidding me? I go Frosted Flakes and Apple Jacks. Ooh. And I like to mix them.
God, Apple Jacks. I haven't had Apple Jacks. I have to tell you a funny story. So years ago, me and 5 buddies, we went up just 30 miles south of the Arctic Circle, and it was like 5 airline flights and 2 float planes, and we get out there and they drop us off in this lean-to for like 9 days. And we're bow hunting caribou, which we didn't know live up in the mountains, and you never saw them, and it was just like a futile thing. But we had no electricity, no radio, no TV.
You did this for fun, Jeff? This was planned? You wanted to do this? Okay.
Yes, this was fun. And so we would have discussions at night, just like cereals. And we would say, out of 5 of us, all right, everybody, this is the only 5 cereals that we all have for the rest of our life. And everybody got to pick one. We would get in screaming matches, or it was candy bars, or it was, and I remember coming to blows over Kit Kat bar.
I think we've literally had this fight. He's a big Kit Kat guy, and I say no.
Huge Kit Kat.
No,
it is one.
I wouldn't hit a dog in the ass with a Kit Kat bar. Come on.
What's the problem with Kit Kat? It's chocolate. It's got the crisp. It's got the bars. You break it up. It's perfect.
No, there's like nothing. It's air. It doesn't satisfy.
There's too much Wayfair. I don't like Wayfair.
Yeah,
Wayfair.
I don't like a Wayfair. Satisfy.
What's your chocolate bar then?
Okay, well, there's a little bit of a caveat with it.
Oh, this means it's going to be a bad one. This is you're setting me up for a bad choice.
No, it's not bad. But there's a huge difference. If you find a fresh one, there's a huge difference between a fresh one and an older one. But a Baby Ruth that's fresh is awesome. And a fresh Butterfinger is the bomb. Okay. But an old one is not as good.
You're gonna lose me on Butterfinger, but a Baby Ruth, I used to get down with the Baby Ruth big time.
Terrible
big
choices.
I haven't had one in a while. In fact, I might go buy one as soon as we're done with this show. But this is one of the most fun things, and I don't mean to be sexist about it, but I just think it's more guys that do it than girls.
Yep.
This is one of the most fun things about being a guy. It's like sitting around a fire or just sitting on a stupid podcast and just arguing about the dumbest things, but being so incredibly passionate about it.
We made a career off it. That's what we do. Impassioned speeches with things you can't get really right or wrong, but we certainly act that way.
Well, and then you're sitting there putting down my Butterfinger, and you're throwing Kit Kat out there. What else besides Kit Kat would you throw out there?
Twix.
No, too much weight.
Oh, for God's sake.
Are you serious? You're out on Twix too?
When I eat a Twix, I eat the top. I just eat the caramel off the top, and I throw the cookie away.
No, the
garbage
great.
cookie.
No, you guys are crazy.
Yes. Oh my God.
Where do you stand? What I thought was my controversial take, because I've never met anybody who disagrees on Kit Kat and Twix. I like Milky Ways. People usually get on me for that.
No, my brother picked Milky Way for the top 5, and we just about came to blows over that. There's nothing there. It's just fluff in the middle. I want like a Snickers.
Yeah, see, I don't like the peanut. I don't want peanuts in my chocolate.
Sakes. Oh.
I'll take anything frozen, by the way. You put any kind of
the ice cream one, or you just put it in the freezer?
Put it in the freezer. Put a Milky Way in the freezer. Put a Snickers in the freezer, and you break that thing off in your mouth, and you chew it, and you absolutely destroy your teeth while you're doing it.
Best. Or if you don't have a freezer, even the refrigerator. Yeah. I mean, even like right now, I got a refrigerator full of almond M&Ms it's just nice. It just gives them that extra little crunch.
How about this, Jeff? I got a bag of Sour Patch Kids in the freezer right now.
Ooh.
My dentist.
How old are you? How old are you?
My dentist was like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea. Definitely do that. Yeah. Anyway, want to book your next appointment?
That's great stuff. Let's take the sugariest thing in the world, and we'll also make it hard as a rock. Perfect for your teeth.
So you can break your teeth on it. That's awesome. But you're right that women never have these arguments, and guys will get. I mean, we'll get mad, and
Absolutely.
It was chips. You know, sandwiches, doesn't matter. Your top 3 drive-through orders, doesn't matter.
I've lost friends over discussions about favorite movies. Like, people I haven't talked to in a decade because they didn't like Fast and Furious.
And rightfully so.
Yes, sir, rightfully so.
All right, Jeff. Well, as always, it's awesome. The new show, What's It Worth? It's on A&E, August 4th. You can check it out, and it sounds like you guys really rolled with the coronavirus punches, so making the best out of it. Sounds pretty cool. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, thank you. It's it actually worked. You know, so many of these virtual things are awkward, but this thing worked. It was really fun.
All right, well, go eat some bad candy bars. I'm gonna go get a Kit Kat. Talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna do next time. It's gonna be chips and fast food. All right.
Done.
We're gonna hold you to that.
All right. All right. See you guys. Thank you.